All right, everybody, welcome back to Laygraphs story time. This is the story about how my mom's friend's drinking problem ended up leading me to meet none other than 1982 Heisman Trophy winner and Georgia football legend Herschel Walker and get him to sign a helmet for me. So the story begins, I'm sitting in my kitchen minding my own business, probably just like counting my money or something. And my mom walks in and goes, "Leighton, you're going to have to figure out what you're doing for dinner tonight because I have to go to the Hilton." And I'm like, "What? What are you going to the Hilton for?" She said, "Well, my friend and her husband are having a really tough time in their marriage and she got a room and now she's sitting at the bar and she's really drunk and she needs my help." And I'm like, "Okay, that's a little strange, but to each their own." And she's like, "Yeah, I probably won't be all night or anything. I just don't know when I'm going to be back, so it'd probably just be best if you handle dinner." And I'm like, "Okay, that's fine. I can whip up some mac and cheese or something." Very shortly after she leaves, she calls me and she says, "Hey, Leighton, I just want to let you know that there's some famous football player here sitting at the bar with us." And I'm like, "Oh, who is it?" She was like, "Hold on, let me ask." And you can hear some pss in the background. And she goes, "Does Herschel Walker sound familiar?" And I'm like, "Herschel Walker? He's at the Hill. I will be there in 10 minutes. So I ran upstairs, I grabbed a Georgia football helmet, I got in my truck, and I zoomed off to the Hilton. I mean, we ain't talking about no big Hilton. We're talking about like a baby Hilton. This ain't in some big city. This is in Warner Robins, Georgia. So I get to the hotel, and I have my helmet, and I walk into the lobby, and I actually see somebody at the front desk that I recognize. It's a mom of somebody I knew when I was younger. And she says, "What are you doing here?" And I'm literally holding a Georgia football helmet. I'm like, "I heard you had a guest?" That was a mistake. I shouldn't have said that. And she was like, "Yeah, you can't sit in the lobby." And I'm like, "Really? We know each other like that? And you're really going to say that to me?" And she's like, "Yeah, it's just against policy. You can't hang out in the lobby if you don't have a room here." And I'm like, hotels this size don't even have a policy. Like, what are you talking about? But whatever. So I'll walk outside, and I decide I'm just going to stand on the sidewalk because she said I couldn't stand in the lobby. So I just stand on the sidewalk. Well, literally hours and hours and hours and hours went by, and day turns to night, and I'm sitting there waiting, and Herschel Walker still ain't walked out. So I'm like, geez, this is bad. I'm stalking this dude right now. But I was pretty dead set on getting that thing. I had a Georgia football helmet ready. Finally, I gave up on my efforts for the night, and I went home. I figured he would be there the next day, maybe back at the hotel bar. I get there early in the morning, and I'm just kind of sitting in my truck talking on the phone, and I saw him walk out of the hotel. And I grabbed it out the cab of my truck, that helmet, and I ran up to him, and he was on the phone. He was like, "Yeah, man, I got you. Just give me 1 second." He stopped, and he put his phone between his shoulder and his ear, and he took my pen, and he spanked that thing, son. I couldn't believe my eyes. I was standing in Warner Robins. Nobody ever comes to Warner Robins, but I got Herschel Walker that day, and I would have never known if he was going to be there or not if it wasn't for my mom's friend's drinking problem. So as much as I don't like that woman, I do appreciate her for that. Life is weird, man. If you enjoyed that story, do me a favor. Hit that like button so YouTube knows it was worth watching. And if you want more wild sports memorabilia stories like this, subscribe and turn on notifications for Laygraphs because trust me, I've been doing this for over 10 years and there's plenty more where that came from.